Let's get started. Agitated workers of veterinary para-professionals who embarked on a demonstration last week to register their displeasure over conditions of service have decided to stop visiting the abattoirs at 5 a.m. to inspect the meat before bringing it to the market for public consumption. The agitated workers will only go to the abattoir at the normal time, which is 8 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. Eastern Regional Chairman of the Veterinary Para-Professionals, Vincent Mensah, joins me on the telephone. And thank you very much for joining us on the news, Mr. Mensah. Now, this is like the second phase of your protest. And what's the impact?
Well, thank you very much, madam. Good afternoon to your listeners. Well, the impact will affect public health, basically, because normally what we do is that in time past, we get to the slaughterhouse as early as 4 o'clock and inspect meat to the various markets, to the hotels and so on and so forth. Now, we've realized that our services have not been appreciated because we do that at our own risk. Now, because of this protest, we've decided that fairly by the rule of the state, I'm supposed to start work 8 o'clock. So now I start work 8 o'clock and close 5 p.m. Now, basically, our work is of public health concern. We have to inspect meat basically to check for tuberculosis, which is zoonosis. Now, the country, Ghana, is struggling to manage tuberculosis, which is of health concern. And every butcher wants to take advantage of the market. So in an event where meat that comes to the market before 8 o'clock is taken to the market, then you can know what the impact will be. Zoonosis diseases will get to the market. Example like tuberculosis are fed, can get to the market.
So let me try and understand what you're saying. You're saying that if meat comes in as early as 5 a.m., the chances of the meat having diseases are higher than 8 a.m.
Yes, because
how does that happen? How does that happen?
Because initially we used to go to the slaughterhouse as early as 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. For all these services you've rendered, we are asking for a market premium, and the fair wages have denied us. So now we said, okay, then let me work by the rule the state has given me, that work 8 o'clock. So now 8 o'clock, when I get there and meat and they are slaughtered and taken, because once they slaughter, everybody wants to take his or her meat away. So they cannot wait. So until I get there 8 o'clock, those that have been slaughtered now, to the time I got there, I will examine them and pack them and then allow them to get to the market. But for those that get to the market before I get there 8 o'clock, I cannot say the quality, I cannot assure the public of its safety because I'm not there to the time the animal was slaughtered. Before we do ante and post-mortem, before the animal is slaughtered, we examine to make sure that there are no conditions outside that will predetermine the outcome inside. So that is what we do basically.
You say Fair Wages has not listened to you or heeded your calls. What kind of correspondence has gone on between your group and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission?
Yes, for the past 3 to 4 years, our leadership have had a series of meetings with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission in request for a market premium, for which the veterinary surgeons will be assisting. You give a premium to the medical officer, you give to the nursing officer. Then when it gets to the other nurse who assists the veterinary surgeon, you say, no, we cannot give you. On what criteria did you use? So for the past 3 to 4 years, we have had a series of meetings with them. And we kept faith with the Fair Wages and our leadership because we did not want to protest in of the negotiation. So we kept faith with them until on the 8th of October. Then we received a letter from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission indicating that for the past 2 years, which is not 2 years, that they've had a series of deliberations and we don't seem to appreciate. I'm sorry.
What does Fair Wages and Salaries Commission want you to do regarding your negotiations with them?
Well, we don't know because we supply them with every document, our leadership. If you like, I can give the contact of our leadership so that you grant him a further interview. You will see. We have had a series of meetings with them, and from that meeting we realized that there is hope coming. So we kept quiet, hoping that something will come. Until on the 8th when that letter came and we said, no, we cannot sit down. So we went to Kumasi. Then in Kumasi, we took a resolution that this could be the roadmap to which finally, if our demands are not met, then we begin to put certain things in place
for
people to know.
We'll leave it here. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's a story about a demonstration by veterinary para-professionals, and that's the Eastern Region Chairman Vincent Mensah. Now, principals from the various colleges of education and their student representative councils have been summoned into an emergency meeting in Accra tomorrow. This is to address the issue of mass dismissal of students. Now, the National Council of the Tertiary Education, which has called this meeting, is unhappy with the confusion and riots in some colleges of education, especially in the Shanti region. This follows the decision to dismiss and repeat some students who failed their exams. A demonstration by some students of the Wesley College of Education in the Ashanti region has turned violent with reports of police brutalities. Erastus Asare Donko joins me live for the very latest. Erastus, so tell us the latest situation on this.
Well, currently, as we speak, we have the students retreating. Many of them have dispersed, gone back to their normal duties, but we still have some police personnel, armed policemen on campus trying to maintain law and order and to ensure that nothing happens whilst they are gone. And so currently they have dispersed.
Well, Erastus, can you describe to us exactly how this went? There are reports of police brutalities. What did you see and how bad was it?
Well, it started around 5 a.m. The students were mainly chanting Jama songs, standing in groups, some observing from afar and carrying placards and jumping around. They were actually demonstrating in front of their dormitories. Now, there was a police car parked to where they were chanting the songs. And at a point, I saw one policeman without provocation pick up a stick and come closer to where the vehicle was and hit the vehicle with it. So I thought he was trying to move them away from the vehicle. But then about 4 policemen joined him with rubber whips, and they started chasing the students, shipping them all along. So some of them started tumbling over and all that. Some sustained bruises, and you could see some marks on the students. Very scary indeed. But if you ask me, it was unprovoked at all. It was unwarranted for the police to do that. There was no cause for that.
Erastus, let's talk about what is in contention, which is students can resit the paper. What do you know about the decision? What went into it? And tell us about the reactions. Obviously, the students are not happy about that.
Now, the administrators of the courses run by the various colleges of education, that's the University of Cape Coast, came up with some review of how they should conduct the examination. Now, previously, they were allowed, if you trail in 3 papers, you are allowed 3 chances to resit. So after the 3 chances, if you are not able to redeem yourself, then you are withdrawn from the school, dismissed, if I should put it that way. Now, it has been reviewed to just 1 chance. So even if you trail in, say, 3 or more papers, you just have 1 chance to resit and redeem yourself. If you are not able to do that, then you are withdrawn. And even when you're given the chance to resit, you must resit as an external student. That means you have to go home, stay there till a certain time, then you come back to write the paper. If you are not able to pass, then you are out of the school completely. And this is what the students say is not fair, because some of them have passed all their exams and they just have 1 paper which has just been introduced, and they have just 1 chance to redeem themselves, and they think that is not fair. And so if you remember, the Mampong Technical College of Education started the agitation. The school was closed down temporarily. Then the Akrokari Training College, yesterday, they also started agitations. The school has been closed down, and now the Wesley College came this morning.
Are we likely to see a trend? You're on the ground, your ears are definitely on the ground. Should we expect to see more demonstrations about this issue?
Exactly. I'm getting the signals on the ground that some students in other teacher training colleges are also planning to also go on demonstration on the same thing, because they are also not happy with it, and it's running across. And so it's possible, if this meeting of principals doesn't bring any solution, then it's possible we will be seeing more of such demonstrations.
Thank you very much, Erastus Asari Donko from Kumasi, the Ashanti region. We'll keep our eyes on that meeting tomorrow, hoping for a positive outcome. Now, the coalition of civil society organizations in the Sada ecological zone are intending to stage a demonstration on Friday at Bolgatanga during this year's Farmers' Day in Bolgatanga in the Upper East region. According to them, they will mobilize thousands of people to spill streets or to get to the streets and demand from government why no funds were allocated to Sada when Finance Minister Sek Tekwe read the 2016 budget about 2 weeks or so ago. Now, spokesperson of the coalition, Bismarck Adongo Ayoko, told Joy News in an exclusive interview, he said that annual budgetary allocations to Sada is not a function of choice, and any government should consider that.
We learned a lesson from the 2015 budget statement, knowing very well the government has very little commitment to allocating resources to SADA. We alerted government that we did not want government to repeat the same mistake it did in 2015 budget statement by alerting it to allocate at least 200 million Ghana cedis to SADA and also pay all the allocations that were made in 2013 and 2014 budget statements but never disbursed to SADA. But to our surprise, the 2016 budget statement again is presented, and you cannot find a single line that talks about any allocation to SADA. And this is really frustrating. This is really disappointing. It is disappointing in the sense that allocation to SADA is not a function of choice of any government. It is grounded in law. And one is wondering why government, after spending the taxpayers' money to make parliament enact or pass this law, it decided to ignore it. Government's action is tantamount to breach of the law. Government has undermined the law of SADA, and this is an illegal thing that government has done. And we are so disappointed that the president, who by his origin is well positioned to know what it means to be a poor person, is treating the people of northern Ghana or the Savannah ecological zone this way. We're equally appealing to the members of parliament, all members of parliament, particularly those from the Savannah ecological zone, that they should scrutinize the budget, and if confirmed as we are saying, they should not approve the budget statement, because SADA is crucial. SADA has the potential to develop, to take people out of poverty, to reduce regional inequalities, and to make life better for the ordinary person, particularly the poor and vulnerable people. And we are asking that the young people from the Savannah ecological zone, once the president will be coming to the north, particularly in the Upper East region, and to be more specific, Bolgatanga, to address the Farmers' Day celebration, we will mobilize ourselves in thousands and stage peaceful demonstration for the president to answer or give us satisfactory answers.
You're watching Joy News today with me, Francisca Kakrafo. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching Joy News today. Lawyer Nana Asante Bedieto has hailed a court ruling which stopped the police from securing injunctions against protests from circuit courts. Now, sometime in September, the police thwarted a planned protest over a new voters register by pressure group Let My Vote Count Alliance after securing a last-minute injunction without the group's notice. Now, the group went to court over this, challenging the legality of the action by the police. And High Court Judge Justice Dominic Dennis Ije ruled in favor of the group Let My Vote Count. Let's hear their lawyer, Nana Asante Bedieto.
As you know, the Let My Vote Count Alliance has been agitating for a new voters register. They had been scheduled to go for a demonstration. We all remember the outcome of that, quite bloody and all of that. They had agreed with the police, subsequently got an injunction because the what happened on the 16th was such that they were not able to deliver their petition to the EC, which was the whole point. So they notified the police that they were going to picket again. In the meantime, the police had secured an injunction, which on the 18th, which would have lasted, I think, until the 28th. The process by which the police went about it was offensive to the Let My Vote Count Alliance. So they went to court to have it set aside. On the day that they went to court, the 10 days had elapsed for the injunction. When you go for an injunction ex parte, meaning the other side is not in court, it can only be for 10 days. So the court informed the parties that Let My Vote Count was under no injunction and they could go ahead. That very afternoon, they secured another injunction from another circuit court. All of these injunctions were secured ex parte from circuit courts. And that's when I was instructed by Let My Vote Count Alliance to go to court. We went to challenge the order restraining the Let My Vote Count Alliance from picketing or demonstrating.
What was wrong with the order for which you went to court?
Well, we went on basically we went on three grounds. The first was that the order was secured from a circuit court and that it was wrongful, and therefore we wanted the High Court to quash the order and to make certain a specific declaration that you could not go, the police could not go to secure such an order to stop people from demonstrating from the circuit court. We had three grounds for doing that. Our main contention being that the right to demonstrate is a fundamental human right. Now, in our Constitution, we're fortunate enough to have, as a human right, enforceable under the Constitution, the right to demonstrate, which is normally not found in other constitutions. And our main contention was that the Constitution says if you want to enforce your fundamental human rights, because it's either being breached or under threat of being, I say it's laughable because they ought to know, the Attorney General ought to know that every lower court is a creature of statute and that they cannot go beyond the bounds of the statute creating it. Nowhere in the statutes regulating the conduct of the lower courts has the circuit court or the district court been given power to determine matters involving the fundamental human rights under Article Chapter 5 of the Constitution.
The three grounds on which you went to court were upheld. In layman's terms, what does that mean?
It is a landmark ruling because it places limits on police powers in respect of the exercise by us citizens of our fundamental human rights. It is significant. It's a major, major, major ruling that the court...
The Energy Committee of Parliament will be meeting the management and board of the GNPC later today. Top on the agenda is the issue raised by Katie Hammond on the payment of ex gratia. Parliamentary correspondent Emmanuel.atani joins us on the telephone. Emmanuel, good afternoon to you. What more can you tell us?
Well, Francisca, good afternoon. And what I can say right now is that the management and board of GNPC will be meeting the Energy Committee at about between 3 and 4. That's the time given me by the Energy Committee Chairman, Amadou Sorogo. He's told me that they have confirmed that they will be meeting them today, this afternoon. And I've been speaking to some of the members of Parliament too, and especially those on the Energy Committee, who have also expressed their worry about the situation, and they are saying that they are calling for the president to institute a committee to look into the matter, to punish those who approved this amount of money to be paid to people who have been out of the office for over 15 years. And for them to be paid this amount, it amounts to, according to them, it amounts to causing financial loss to the state. So they should be investigated, and if found culpable, then they should be punished as the law demands. That's what's been happening in Parliament. Francisca.
Thank you, Emmanuel Ante from Parliament. Now, the ruling National Democratic Congress says it finds no merit with petitions for rerun of elections in some constituencies in the Eastern region and has subsequently dismissed them. Eastern Regional Correspondent Edwin Kofisian reports 3 aggrieved NDC parliamentary aspirants protested the results of their primaries in their respective constituencies, citing issues ranging from ballot irregularities and manipulation of some results. Here's Kofisian.
From 3 constituencies, that is Afram Plains North, from the incumbent Atani Emmanuel, then one from Upper Menya Krobo, an aspirant called Bismarck Tete Nyaku, then in Asane Manso Akroso constituency, one Kwesi Sechi. And according to, in summary, like the petition is asking the regional executives of the party to nullify results in the 3 constituencies. They are basing the argument on the fact that there were some irregularities recorded in their primaries. So the regional executive committee should dismiss the election results in those constituencies. But the regional secretary told me when the regional executive committee met, they considered all the arguments raised by those aggrieved parties, and they've come to the conclusion that the petitions have no merit, and that they've dismissed it. So for now, those who won the election, according to the regional secretary, the results are holding, and they are, the legitimate candidate to run on the ticket of the NDC. This is an exclusive to Joy News alone, and he told me they are now going to communicate it to the aggrieved, aspirants. So as of now, they've not heard it from the party itself. All the constituencies held their primaries except Akwatia constituency.
Exactly.
And that constituency, the decision not to hold the election there came from the national officials of the party. So the regional executives currently are unable to comment about it as to how and when the elections are going to be held in Akwatia.
Citizen Vigilante Martin Amidu has issued a statement in reaction to what he calls fabrications about his criticism of the ruling National Democratic Congress NDC government. Now, he states that his criticism is not born out of envy, bitterness or anger. Latif Idris has been reading through the document.
One thing is clear, what Martin Amidu wants to put out there is that he holds nothing against President Mahama. And in fact, according to his statement, he played key role in getting President Mahama to become the running mate of late President Mills. He said eventually candidate Mills nominated Mr. Mahama as his running mate over Alhaji Mohammed Momuni. I played my part in the 2008 campaign by leading the team to the Upper East Region's campaign as Mr. Mobila was unavailable at a point in the campaign. I contributed financially to each constituency and the regional party headquarters for the campaign as well. The results in the Upper East region were exceptional for the NDC. He said, when I reluctantly joined the Mills Mahama government in 2009, I had no problem with the vice president, except the manner in which he and Otin Ejei sought to push my hand in agreeing not to prosecute the EO group case by getting President Mills to grant an executive consent to the group to sell their shares and for me to grant them indemnity from prosecution.
So this accusation is making is against then vice president, but now president of the Republic,
exactly.
John Dramani Mahama.
And Otin Ejei, that's
the former energy minister also.
Exactly. So if you want to go by this portion of the statement, what Mr. Martin Amidu is saying is that then Vice President Mahama was engaged in some kind of, if you like, per his statement.
Well, per the statement, he's just saying he was forced to do certain
things which he felt was corrupt. And so he declined, he resisted, and didn't allow, the then Vice Presidents, Mahama and Mr. Otin Ejei, to get him do the wrong thing. Let's move on a bit. He said, Any other disagreements were on professional grounds and never personal. I always told Professor Mills that, quote, I will never do anything today which I cannot defend tomorrow when I am out of office. When I appeared, unquote, when I appeared before the National Reconciliation Commission, I was alone. So again, what Mr. Martin Amidu is saying is that he always stands for the truth and he will not be pushed. Nobody can push him to do what he deemed not right. And that is what he's trying to put out here again.
Let's take a quick break and bring you the latest in business. Don't go away. Hello again and thanks for staying. Let's talk business now. And some capital market players say the oversubscription of last week's domestic bond is not surprising. The about 4% oversubscription, according to them, was expected considering the cost at which government raised the 500 million cedis target. Head of research at Group Indum Samuel Ampa is one of such analysts. He explained his position in an interview with Joy Business.
You should understand that at 24%, I mean, who wouldn't want 24%? I mean, where other countries are offering lesser than even 10%. If you go to the European market or the American market, it's lesser. I mean, 2%, 3%. So if a country is offering 24% long-dated bonds, I mean, clearly a lot more people will go for that. Even as a Ghanaian, you will definitely want to go for the 24% because, you know, what government is doing is has an agenda to bring interest rates down. So if you go in for 24% now, in the next 2 years, when interest rate has fallen to perhaps it may be 20%, at least you are gaining for 24%. So it's not good. You know, it's not good in terms of government is going to pay more. Ghanaians are going to be paying more for the interest payments, right? But hey, that's the situation we find ourselves. That tells you that our economy is going through some financial challenges.
Vice Chairman of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, Kwame Jantwa, has reiterated the need to move from over-reliance on commodities to drive the economy. Kwame Jantwa, who is also the Executive Director of Peace Petroleum Limited, explained that adding value to our raw materials before exporting gives the country a higher return and ultimately grows the economy.
You see, it would always help an economy if you can add value where the return is higher. So for our gold, for instance, if we can add value to our gold where we've done gold bars, when the price goes up, we have the gold bars there. When the price goes down, we hold on to our gold bars. But when we're exporting raw material, how much money do we get out of that? And I expect our oil should be so. Why do I say that? We have to get to a point where we can think of putting refineries up where we add value. Because at the present moment, the downstream industry, where you bring in refined petroleum products, everything is imported. We have Tor, don't we? Let's see how best we can get good refineries in place, not only to refine for Ghanaian consumption, but also to refine for West Africa. Because in the Gulf of Guinea today, every country seems to be exploring and discovering oil and gas. If that is the case, then there's a case for us to put up good refineries. However, the other thing that we need to do and do very well is gas. It looks as if Ghana has a huge potential of gas. And I don't think it's only Ghana. I think Cote d'Ivoire has it, Liberia will have it, Sierra Leone will have it. What are we doing as ECOWAS to make sure that we harmonize all this? To provide electricity, to provide other added value services that gas brings, to create a certain employment for our people. I think gas is strategic. I think solar is also strategic where power is concerned. And we should start looking at that so that in the next 10 to 15 years, we would have power that is sustainable, power that would help us develop. Because all these industries we talk about, without power, forget it.
The Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASAP, is challenging Ghana government and its counterparts in Africa to review governance processes on oil and gas resources. This, in the centre's view, is critical to generating the desired economic benefit. ASEP's Deputy Director Ben Wache said this at a press conference.
We have governance challenges, management of petroleum contracts, who is entering into our shores to get the blocks, how much governments are negotiating is a problem, how communities are benefiting from the extraction of the resource is also another challenge. And beyond that, how do we even manage the little that we get continue to plague the continent? So ASEP decided to bring together civil society companies and government across the region to discuss the way forward. How do we bridge the governance challenge to ensure that the extraction of resources is linked to development, so that we don't extract the resources and people get poorer? And that is how we came by this recommendation to push for transparent and accountable process of governing our resources, to build the institutional capacity of independent institutions that are supposed to engage in negotiating petroleum contracts, so that we can get optimal share of the resources that are extracted in Africa. Again, communities should not suffer because they have resources at their backyard. How do we negotiate their interests so that their rights are also respected, their livelihoods are protected, and that we don't extract their rights as well? So these and many other issues are what are contained in the communique, which we are going to push to African leaders, civil society and the media in particular, to also continue to monitor how we progress relative to the governance of oil and gas resources, to make sure that we are able to generate maximum returns and develop the continent.
And that's it for business. Sports is coming up next. Time now for sports. I'm joined by Benedict Owusu. Benedict, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm well, thanks.
All right, okay. So we can talk some sports news now. And Accra Heart of Folk seals a deal with Polar Electronic Japan group. That's they've sealed a sponsorship with Japanese facility manufacturers of Polar Electronic Japan. Now the Phobians closed the deal last week and took delivery of the batch of sponsorship items provided by the company. Officials and players of the club will have access to training facilities and other personal items provided by the company. Heart spokesperson Opari Ado has been telling us more about this sponsorship deal.
We've had sponsorship from a Japanese company. They are interested in coming on board to help Hearts of Folk in terms of sponsorship. And what they're going to provide, or what they have provided, is equipment for training. That is going to help the players a lot. These are certain things that the coach did request for. So once they also made that suggestion that they want to come on board to provide us with all such equipment, we agreed to it and we signed the deal for it.
Okay, so it's just about equipment, no money involved?
Well, it is equipment. You can quantify them if it is in terms of monetary, but then it is in equipment to help the players to go about their training very well.
Did the coach play a key role in getting this sponsorship?
Yes. What initially happened is that because they have good contact with the coach, they contacted him. The coach also agreed that yes, he will speak to the club. So when he brought it to the sponsorship and finance committee, we agreed to it, and then eventually they went ahead. So yes, they know him. They started from him. Then he also brought it on board, and the sponsorship and finance committee accepted it.
That was Accra Heart of Folk spokesperson Opari Ado there. Now, Black Stars coach Avram Grant admits it is very difficult inviting players who are inactive at club level to the Black Stars. Now, some players constantly earn call-ups to the team despite not featuring at club level. Avram Grant considers players like Christian Achu and Mubarak Wakasu as vital to his team, even though they struggle for game time at their respective clubs.
It's not easy to pick the players to the national team because few of them are not playing, it's true. I'm not happy from this. I'm completely not happy. But one criterion that is very important is their performance for us. So let's say took two players, Wakaso and Atsu. Huh? No, I'm speaking about the African Cup. Atsu and Wakaso. Atsu became the best player in Africa in the tournament. Wakaso did very well. So they have also credit about this, not for a long time, but if they continue to prove themselves, I need to analyze the past. If they continue to prove themselves, they will play. But I must tell you they come for minors, because if they're not playing for the team, they need to be very good for us in the training and everything, otherwise they will not play. I'm not happy for this, but I'm very happy that when they are coming with the desire, until now both of them proved themselves. It's including Baba Rahman. He played good until now in the Black Stars. I don't know what's happened in Chelsea. I hope he'll play. I just must tell you, he's a young player. First year in England is not so easy. Until now, he played games. He played in Europe. I saw him even last game. He gave a great assist, and we worked about this with him. And I think he have a good future. For me, I'm not looking about the long future. I'm looking about the Black Star. He did well. So as long as he will do well for us, he will be. If not, they have a problem if they will not play. Like if player playing this team is not guaranteed that he will play for us.
Well, that's it for your sports, Francisca.
Thank you, Benedict, and that's all for sports. Stay with us. Let me quickly tell you this before we go. It's World AIDS Day, in case you didn't know, and Accra Brewery Limited has been doing something wonderful. They've been helping headquarters at Agbubloshi find out their status, and that's a good cause. Well, that's it for the news on Joy News today. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. I'm Francisca Kakwa-Forson. Thank you very much for your company.